driving and I've been having some thoughts about nutrition and self-care and all of that. And I don't really have an end game, a solution, or a moral of the story in mind. I just wanted to kind of express some things. I was thinking about my fitness approach and how I even considered briefly calling my business this, or having it as a kind of tagline or something, and it was like, Easy Does It Fitness. I thought about having Easy Does It in there somewhere, because in a lot of ways I do believe that, like, my approach, our approach to health and wellness is to some extent easy, as in it's simple in some ways. We tend to overcomplicate health, and if the idea is calories in, calories out, then it becomes complicated and difficult, because you're looking at the calories on all of the boxes or packages that you're opening. And then if you are eating something that doesn't have a nutritional label with the calories, you have to then look up the calories of that. So for every meal, you're doing all these calculations. But not only that, but then you're looking at portion sizes, because if it says that it's 80 calories a serving, you have to actually pay attention to what a serving is. And then you're like measuring out your food and doing all of this, like calculating in math, right? And then thinking about calories out and trying to figure out how many calories do I expend doing this or that, and then doing all of that math. And it just makes it so complicated, and it doesn't have to be. You and I, we've talked about this, and I've blogged about it and all that. There's no need to count calories. There's no need to pay attention to those things. It's actually pretty simple. Eat more meat. Eat less processed foods, or don't eat any processed foods if possible. Eat less sugar to no sugar if possible. And move more. Walk more. Lift heavy things once in a while. I mean, ultimately, it is kind of pretty simple, right? Eat whole foods. Eat mostly meat. Stay away from sugar. Walk more, right? So in a lot of ways, it is easy. But then, on this road trip to visit a friend, and I'm thinking about the ways in which it is difficult. How even someone like me who knows what's good for me will find doing this difficult. Because, as I'm getting in the car to drive for 17 hours, I have to now think about, what am I going to eat? How am I going to store what I eat? I can't go to fast food restaurants, or if I do go to a fast food restaurant, I have to investigate what types of things would be okay to eat, what places don't cook things in seed oil, all of that stuff. Or then I'm going grocery shopping and I'm meal prepping in advance, and I'm having to think okay, in the next 2 days, what can I eat that I can also keep cold? And it does make it more difficult than it normally is on a day-to-day basis. Then I was also thinking about the kind of cultural components of it. And we've talked about this before, but it's hard to be healthy and to socialize. You and I are both, maintaining relationships, friendships, expanding and developing new relationships and friendships, and finding that to be difficult because the way that we take care of our health is so different from the way most people take care of their health. So, it makes getting together with friends or meeting new friends difficult, because where do we go? Well, we go out to eat, we go to a bar, we do and not many people are up for, let's go for a hike, as a way to meet up and get to know each other or whatever. But then in the existing relationships, it's difficult because, you like to joke that not even really joke, but you say that, you love people with protein, and a lot of people love people with food, but you say specifically, I love people with protein, right? The thing is I'm getting ready to go spend a few days with my friend, and she is going to try to love me with food. And I'm realizing realizing that, if I go to her house and she creates this, this dinner, right? She and her husband cook this wonderful meal with all these different things, and then they offer it up, and I say, oh, I'm just going to have that. I pick the one thing in that spread that I feel like I can eat and be healthy. Well, I've basically, in a way, most likely rejected her love. And that's going to be hard for her, and it's going to be hard for me, and it's really unfortunate that is how that goes. And so I was just thinking about it and realizing that it's hard, and I don't, and especially as a health coach, I want people to understand how easy and how simple it is in some ways, but I also want to make sure that I express and understand that it can be very difficult in other ways, and emphasize the importance of giving ourselves grace. It's important to set boundaries when it comes to our health, but also understanding that if at times we end up not holding those boundaries, if at times we give in and we accept the food that we know isn't very healthy for us because we don't want to reject someone's love, that we should be understanding of it and go easy on ourselves when those things happen. So those are just some thoughts that I was having in this moment.